Hello again, everyone. I'd like to make a quick card today, and I thought I would use up the remainder of this little bit of tissue that I had stuck to a piece of card yesterday. This is a Manuscript stamp, and it's by Gina K, and it was stamped onto tissue for me by a friend, Julie, whom I met last year actually at the craft day in Kenilworth. So I thought I would use this up with a very quick, very, very simple card. I've got this card is made from half a sheet of A4, which I cut down the length and then tent folded, and I've cut my panel, which matches in its cut with this SIzzix die, nesting rectangles, and it's sized set 2, which are British dimensions. Okay, my idea is this. I'm going to use this little tiny die from Charlie and Paulchen. It's an aperture die, and it's got a couple of snowdrops in there. So I just want to cut that from this corner here. Now, you can probably see straight away there's a bit of a quandary here. I can't see those two snowdrops because it's a solid backed die apart from a couple of tiny little holes. So how do I know that I can get these stems looking as if they're actually growing? So what I do is this. I get a ruler or a straight edge of some description, and I will hold it, this die, in front of it so that I like the orientation of the stems so that it looks like it's going to be upright. The next thing I do is just to get an indelible marker of some sort of Sharpie or something or other. Got a black one here, and I'm just going to draw a line against that straight edge across the back of the die. Okay, now I know that when I turn that die over and try and use it to cut on there, if I keep that line horizontal, then those stems are going to be looking like they're growing, not coming out sideways or whatever. So I think I'll just put a little bit of low tack tape on that to keep it in position, and just pop it through my die cutting machine. I've got my hooks for these now, and I keep looking, just where I plonk things down, and they've got their own special places now. It's wonderful. So here are my snowdrops, and they're growing, looking as if they're growing, not coming out sideways or any other direction. Oh, don't want to damage the step. There we go. There's just one tiny bit of that to go. Okay, so now it's in the correct orientation. We're absolutely fine. Pop this on a magnet just to keep that safe while we're working. Right, I thought I would add just a little bit of colour to these. So I've got out 2 green markers. I have got G270 and G240. So I'll start with the 270, and I'm just going to do a tiny little bit, just a bit of shadow, like that. And now I'm going to use the other one for most of the colouring. There's not much to do really at all, is there? Okay, now I think I will actually use a very, very, very pale grey just to add just a touch of shadow onto the actual petals. So a little bit round here. Next to nothing really. There we go. Now, apart from a sentiment, this is practically done. Because my idea is this. I will put a little of the manuscript behind like this. Pop that onto my card. And I was going to have Thinking of You. And I'm wondering what colour to do, whether to do it in black. I think I may well do it in silver, as there's no black on the card at the moment. So I've got a little bit of scrap here. Let's get some Versamark, anti-static, and we'll just pop a bit of Versamark onto here. Thinking of You, and it's a very, very tiny sentiment, very tiny. It's from this set, lovely set, from Sugar Pea Designs, Everyday Sentiments it's called. This is what I'm talking about. I wish all stamp companies would do that, would put on the actual carrier sheet their name and the name of the set. Makes it so much easier for anybody to tell anybody else without having to look up in an inventory or whatever. So let's just do this. I'll add a bit more because I've been chatting. Right. And I always like to stamp it upside down. Now, why is the right way up, Roz? I wonder why that is. Okay. Let's see how we go. Here's my silver. Now there is the tiniest little dot of embossing powder extra on the top of the T. A lot of people say, oh, use a brush. And you may well have seen me use a fine brush, actually dipped in talcum powder to remove excess embossing powder. But if it's a tiny bit like this, I just get a pokey tool and blow at the same time. And it's gone. If you try and get a brush to that, some of the bristles will knock some of the embossing powder off where you don't want it to go from. Just a bit more. Okay, and there we are. So now I'm going to heat set this. And you can always tell a good quality stamp, because if you emboss with good quality embossing powder, the image is slightly rounded. Some you use, and if it's not a good stamp, the image looks kind of pitted rather than full flavoured. Right, I'm going to find a little die for that. I think that's going to be a bit big. I think this, because it's so small, it needs a tiny die to cut it out. Okay, I think this one will do. I've got a shorter one of those. I've got so many. Yeah, that's slightly shorter. It'll be slightly easier to manage, I'm sure. Now, someone asked me yesterday, could they see this in detail? It is a simple way of just either lengthening or shortening any dies that you may have. So you just start from one end, pop it around the sentiment that you want to use, and then you must just tape it. It needs to stay exactly where you've put it. Okay. Am I happy with it? Distance top and bottom and from the end of the die? I think so. So I'm just going to pop that on there, and then I'm going to run it through my machine. But I'm not going to go right past. I'm going to stop about just there. I have done a short video about this, in fact, so now it's cut part way through. Can you see? It's cut partway through. Now we've got to cut this end. And so it looks as though I've got a dirty, you can't see it, but it's a look, it's a dirty cutting plate. I said the other day how important it is to make sure that you do clean your plates if you've die cut anything where the ink is probably not absolutely dry, because it will transfer to whatever you want to cut next. So let's hope that's going to do the trick. Right, I'm going to turn this around now so that the other end's going to go through the machine first. I'm going to pop that on, and the important thing here, when you've decided how far away from the beginning of the sentiment you want the end of the die to be, is that the cutting lines are within the lines that have been already cut, because you don't want to make an extra line. So let's stick that down there and we'll pop it through the machine. We're not going to cut all the way this time either. We're just going to go and cut the bit that hasn't been cut. So here is our much shorter die cut from a much longer die. So there we go. So let's just sort this out. I'm going to put 2 tiny bits of foam tape behind the flowers and some more around the aperture. So can I cut off a tiny little couple of slivers? If you've got foam dots, that's often a good thing to do. You can always cut those to whatever size you like, chop them down. And another one for the other flower. I don't think the stems will need it, but I think the flower heads will need a bit of support if I'm going to put the whole card onto foam tape. Right, let's just do the rest really quickly. Now I need to choose which bit of this goes behind. And I don't think it much matters really. I'll just get the bit for this ready. Okay. Touch of glue stick. Ooh. This is dried up for some reason. It's dried up, so I've just cut that end bit off. Don't know if it was left with its lid off or what, I don't know. Right, let's try it again. That's better. It was just dragging because it was too dry. Right, what am I doing? This. I'll cut it down a bit. And we'll see which bit we want, and then I'll cut off the rest. I think probably there somewhere. Right. Have another look. Still the right way up. Okay. That's fine. Not bad at all. So now I can continue to take the rest of this off and stick it onto my card base. I will add just a bit more glue around there where the card has covered up the foam tape. I don't think the difference in the depth will make much difference at all. Okay, pop this onto here. And now the sentiment. Here it is. I think that can go there. I'll just tape that down, take a picture, put it on the end of the video. It's been really quick today, but we're going off to my daughter's. She's taking my granddaughter to something or other with a bunch of her friends. I don't know, something or other. And we're on grandson duty, so we have to collect him from the bus from school and feed him. So I think all will be well. Always love to go and see our grandchildren. Had a lovely day yesterday with my niece, so it's been real family stuff this week. Absolutely lovely. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much for giving a click on the thumbs up. And I'll see you very soon.